Let me tell you something that sounds strange, but it is true, right? Sometimes the version of you that saved your life will actually sabotage your future. Sometimes the mindset that helped you survive the last season becomes the very thing attacking your next season. Sometimes the instincts that protected you in pain become the habits that block you from peace. And that is hard to accept because we do not like to criticize the version of us that got us through. We honor that version of us. We respect it. We remember what that version had to endure, remember the betrayal, the embarrassment, the nights nobody checked up on you, and all of that. You remember the rooms where we had to act strong because breaking down was not an option. We remember having to figure it out. And we remember having to survive with limited resources, limited help, limited support, limited understanding, limited room to simply be human. So yes, that version of you deserves all the respect in the world. But that version of you does not get to run the rest of your life because survival is a season. It is not supposed to become your identity. And for some of us that are trying to build a better future, a brighter future, while we're still taking orders from the version of us that was built on trauma, disappointment, rejection, poverty, fear, abandonment, and failure. That version knew how to survive the storm. But now you are trying to build outside of this storm and some good weather, but yet you're still wearing your storm gear. So tonight on Choo On That, we're going to be talking about the version of you that got you here will destroy you if you keep listening to it. And I need you to digest this. So tonight's topic, again, I say unto you, is the version of you that got you here will destroy you if you keep listening to it. Let's dive in here on True Radio. Let's get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Turn me up a little. Yeah. Walking, I am calm, but the message loud. No circus talk, I do not play for crowd. I do not chase clicks, I chase clarity. Truth with the rhythm that is therapy. If it feel heavy, that is how it land. Real life questions in the palm of your hand. We talk love, we talk pain, we talk pride, we talk what folks hide when they outside. This that head nod, mind open, say it straight, no fine print. If it hit you, do not rush, let it sit, let it sink in. Chew on that. Real talk, real issue, where the truth stay at. No smoke, no mirrors, just the facts. If it spark that thought, bring it back. You need to digest this. Chew on that. You need to digest it. Chew on that. Everybody gotta take, I gotta land. I ask one question, then I ask again. What you believe and why you believe it? Who fed it to you? Did you ever read it? We do not do beef, we do not do hate. We do not do fake peace just to feel safe. We dig in deep, then we pull it up. Turn hard conversations into grown love. Breathe. Let it play, if it cut you, it can heal the same. If you're ready for the work, let me see you stand. If you're ready for the truth, put your heart in your hands. Oh, chew on that. Real talk, real issue, where the truth stay at. No smoke, no mirrors, just a fact. If it spark that thought, bring it back. You need to digest this. Chew on that, on that. Yeah, you need to digest it. Chew on that. Chew on that. suspicious. You need to digest this.
So let's set the table. I want to introduce you to a concept tonight I call identity lag. Yeah, identity lag is what happens when your circumstances change faster than your self-concept. Your life moves forward, but your inner picture of yourself stays behind. Your environment changes, but your emotional programming stays the same. Your opportunities grow, but your identity still thinks small. Your seasons change, but your nervous system still is responding like you are in the last battle. That is identity lag. You get the new job, but you still think like somebody who was about to be exposed, right? So you play small, you over explain, you don't speak up, you wait for permission in rooms where you were hired to bring value. You start the business, but you still think like somebody who was begging to be chosen. So you undercharge. You over deliver to prove yourself. You apologize for your price. You keep attracting clients who drain you because your identity is still negotiating with insecurity. You get out of a toxic relationship, but you still think like somebody who has to earn love by tolerating dysfunction. So when peace shows up, you call it boring. When consistency shows up, you question it. And when somebody treats you well, you feel suspicious because chaos trained your nervous system to mistake instability for chemistry. Let's go a little bit deeper. You get a new platform, but you still think like somebody who is afraid to be seen. So you hide behind perfection. You delay your launch. You delay your dreams. You delay your vision. You keep editing. You keep wanting to prepare. You keep going through training after training after training after training. And you keep saying, I'm almost ready. When the truth is, you are wrestling with the fear of being visible. And that, my friend, is identity lag. And here's the dangerous part. Most people think they're struggling because they lack talent. Nah. Most people think they're struggling because the opportunity is too hard. And that's not always true. Sometimes the issue is that the version of you operating the opportunity was built for an old environment. And you are trying to drive a new car with old directions. You are trying to build a new life with old beliefs. You are trying to walk into a new room with old survival strategy. And if you do not update the identity, you will sabotage your opportunities. Because every opportunity requires a version of you that can carry it. Every blessing has capacity requirements, and every new level asks the same questions. And the question is this: who do you have to become to live here responsibly? And some of us keep praying for new open doors while refusing to update the person who have to walk through them. The external breakthrough is not enough. The internal transformation has to catch up, because if your life changes but your identity does not, you will find a way to recreate the old environment that you just left instead of thriving in the new opportunity. And that is why people can leave one toxic relationship and reproduce the same pattern with someone new. That is why people can get more money and still live from scarcity. That is why people can get a platform and still be controlled by insecurity. And that is why people can get promoted and still act like they do not belong, because of identity lag. And tonight we are going to expose it. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to expose it all. But let me start off like saying this. let's be fair to the old version of you. The old you was not always wrong. The old you was necessary. The old version of you helped you survive. The old version of you learned how to read the room, how to protect your feelings, how to not expect too much from people, how to hustle when no one else was helping you, right? The old you had to learn how to keep going when life did not slow down for your pain. The old version of you learned how to defend itself. So this is not about hating who you were. This is about telling that version, thank you for getting me here. Round of applause. Thank you for getting me here, but you're not qualified to lead me where I'm going. Because survival skills are not always growth skills. A person who survived rejection may become independent, but the same independence that protected them can later make intimacy difficult, make companionship difficult. A person who survived poverty may become a hard worker, but that same survival hustle can later make rest feel irresponsible. We know everyone needs rest. A person who survived betrayal may become guarded. But that same guard can later block healthy connections. And the person who survived being overlooked may become driven, so super driven. But that same drive can later become an addiction to proving people wrong. So the question is not, did this behavior ever serve me well? The question is this, does it still serve me well where I'm going? Because some of the things you call your personality are really old survival strategies that never got updated. So you say things like, I'm just independent. Or maybe you learned not to need people because needing people once hurt you too much, right? So you just say things like, I don't want anybody to help me because I'm a perfectionist. Or maybe you learned that mistakes cost you love, acceptance, safety, or approval. So you just say, you know what? I'm just guarded. Maybe you never healed from the last place where you were vulnerable, where your vulnerability was punished, right? You were vulnerable with someone and they used it against you. And now you're just saying, you know what? I'm just closed off. I'm a hard worker. Leave me alone. Or maybe rest feels dangerous because your identity believes that everything can fall apart if you stop. This is the investigation right here. This is where you have to become a detective of your own behavior, and you have to ask, where did all this come from? What season in my life created this response? Was I trying to survive when I learned to act this way? And if this response is still wisdom, then cool. Or is this response now become bondage? Because what protected you in one season can actually imprison you in another. And if you do not discern the difference, you will call it strength when it is really fear with some muscles. Now, let me give you 3 signals that the old version of you is still in the driver's seat, right? This is just 3 of them. The signal number 1, your first reaction under pressure is still an old pattern, right? Because pressure reveals your programming. I'm going to say that again. When pressure is applied to you, it reveals your programming. And when you get criticized, how do you respond? What do? Do you shut down? Do you attack? Do you over-explain? Do you disappear? Do you get defensive? Do you immediately assume that somebody's rejecting you, or are you trying to prove your worth? The first reaction tells you which version of you grabbed the steering wheel. Because the new you might have values, the new you might have goals, and the new you might even know better. But under pressure, that old you often shows up first. Why? Right? Because we're creatures of habit. because old patterns have practice. They have reps, they have history, they have emotional memory. And so when pressure comes, your system reaches for what is familiar, not necessarily what is wise, but what is familiar. And that's why growth is not proven when everything is calm. Growth is proven when pressure comes and you can choose your response. You don't even know if you're healed until pressure comes. And then this is what happens, right? In the calmness of life, we get to posting these quotes and all of these things to give us the appearance of being healed, right? And healing is happening when the old trigger shows up and you do not give the old you the authority to respond the way that you used to, and getting rid of some of those patterns. So let's go to signal number 2. You keep explaining your present through your past. Oh man, somebody needs to hear that. You keep explaining your present through the lens of your past, because the old you has a story. The old you story is legit. It really is. And that story might have truth in it, and it does. And we say things like, I didn't come from money. I didn't have the support. People left me. I was overlooked. I failed before. I was embarrassed. And ain't nobody teach me I had to survive. And all of that is true. All that could be your story, right? Here's the issue. When your past becomes the main narrator for your present, your future starts shrinking. Because your past will only tell you what happened to you. It cannot always tell you what is the possibilities of your future. So your past can give you context, but it cannot give you the final authority. And some people are not stuck because of what happened. They're stuck because they gave what happened a permanent seat at the decision-making table. And every time opportunity comes, the past speaks first. Every time healthy love shows up, the past interprets it wrong. Every time money comes, the past predicts that it's going to be lost. And every time visibility and growth comes, your past warns you about embarrassment and reminds you of who you used to be. And now the past is not just a memory of yours, it's your manager. And that is the problem. Your past can be a teacher, but it should never be your master. Let's go to signal number 3. You still let old rooms define your worth. Listen, and this one is real. Some of us are still living under the verdict of these old rooms we used to be in, these old family systems, them old friend groups, them old relationships and old jobs and old failures and old communities and old critics, and the old versions of you that you changed throughout your life and throughout the years. And people who met you in one season decided that was all you could ever be. And even though your life has changed, you're still emotionally reporting to their opinion. Their opinion is your funder, and you're submitting a monthly report emotionally every single time you bow to their opinion. You still hear their voice when you're trying to grow. You still imagine their reaction when you think about them posting and launching things and speaking things and writing things and creating things or becoming something different. You're thinking about their reaction. But let me free somebody tonight, because you still shrink because somewhere inside you're trying not to make the old rooms uncomfortable. You're trying not to make those old people and relationships and jobs and things uncomfortable. And you cannot become the new you while still being loyal to old definitions of you. And everybody from your past does not have the authority to name your future. And you got to also remember seasons are tricky, right? Some people knew your wound, not your wisdom. Some people knew your struggle, not your strength. Some people knew your mistake and not your maturity. Some people knew your survival season and not your assignment. And you have to stop letting people who only have evidence of your past testify against your future. You are not required to remain recognizable to people committed to the old version of you. So let them be confused. Let them say you changed. Let them say you're different. That is the whole freaking point. Growth should make some people reintroduce themselves to you. Listen, I know I started this show off with a heavy heat, some hot monkey lava. But listen, I want to take a quick 2.2. But before we do, I want you to sit with this question during the break. Is the old version of you still protecting you, or is it now preventing you? That is the question. And when we come back, I'm going to give you the framework for updating your identity without dishonoring your past. So don't go nowhere. It's your boy Randy Choo, aka Mr. Choo On That. We'll be right back after this quick 2.2. We're back, family. This is Choo On That show, and tonight we are talking about the version of you that got you here will destroy you if you keep listening to it. Before the break, we talked about identity lag. We talked about how your circumstances can change while your self-concept stays behind, right? We talked about the old version of you that may have helped you survive, but it may not be qualified to help you to elevate and thrive in your next season. Now I want to shift into into the practical side, if you will, right? Because your goal is not to hate who you were. The goal is to honor who you were without obeying it. That makes sense? There's a difference. You can honor the old version of you without letting it govern your new season. So let me give you 4 ways to update your identity. Number 1, you got to thank the old you, then reassign it. Let me say that again. You have to thank the old version of yourself, and then you have to reassign it. Some people try to grow by attacking the old version of themselves. And what I mean by that is because words have power. So this is what I mean. You say things like, I was stupid, I was weak, I should have known better, I wasted time, I hate that I was like that. Those are the words you say to yourself, or even think to yourself. But that approach actually creates shame and condemnation within your soul. And shame and condemnation never transforms you or anybody else. Shame makes you hide. Condemnation makes you hide. And instead of attacking the old version, you need to thank it. You need to say to yourself, thank you for surviving. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for getting me through what I did not think I could survive. But you are not in charge anymore. And that's the key statement right there. You're not in charge anymore. You are not deleting the old version of you. You're just simply reassigning it. That's all you're doing. The old version of you can be a witness to your future. It can be a teacher to you. It can be a reminder to you, but it should never be your leader. And this is where we fall short. Let me go to number 2. Identify the old rules that you are still living by. Every old version of you had rules. Don't trust nobody, don't need nobody, don't speak up. You don't need to be visible. Don't expect them to help you out. Better not make no mistakes. Don't rest. Don't charge too much. Don't shine too bright. Don't get too comfortable. Don't let people close. Those are the type of rules that you created in the old version of you. And those rules may have protected you once, but now they may be restricting you. So you have to ask, what old rule am I still obeying? Who taught me this rule? What did this rule protect me from? And what is this rule costing me now? Then you write some new rules. Old rule, don't trust anybody. New rule, trust is built slowly through consistent evidence. Hear me out. Your old rule says don't make mistakes. New rule says mistakes are information. They are not my identity. Old rules say I have to prove myself to be valuable. But the new rules should state my value is not created by my performance. Old rule says if I rest, everything will fall apart. New rule says rest is part of the sustainable building of my dreams, my goals, my vision. You do not change identity by wishing it. You change your identity by rewriting the rules in which it was living by. That's what we need to do. Number 3, practice the new version of you under pressure. Everybody can be the new version of themselves when nothing is happening, when everything is just chill and calm. But the test comes when pressure shows up, and the test comes when somebody criticizes you. The test comes when a door opens and you feel unqualified, or when love shows up and you want to run, and when money shows up and scarcity tells you to panic, And when visibility shows up and fear tells you to hide, that is when you practice. That is when you pause. That is when you breathe. That is when you say, what would the healed version of me do right now? What would the mature version of me choose right now? What would the version of me that trusts the process do in this exact moment? And you choose that response before it feels natural. And that is important because we have mistaken things feeling natural for being genuine and authentic. But that is not always the case. New identity feels awkward before it actually feels authentic. You are not fake because it feels uncomfortable. You are practicing the new you. And the old version feels natural because you've practiced it and harbored it and have been imprisoned by it for so long and so many years. And you forget that the new version of you actually needs those repetitions. They need those reps. Let's go to number 4. Stop asking old rooms for permission. And this one is big. This one is big. You cannot keep asking people who benefited from your smallness to validate your expansion. Listen. You cannot keep asking people who benefited from your smallness to validate your expansion. You cannot keep asking old rooms to approve your new language. You cannot keep asking those people who only understand your survival mode mindset to celebrate your transformation. Because some people are not qualified to confirm the new you because they are emotionally invested in the old you. They need you to stay exactly where you were so they don't have to confront who they have refused themselves to become. And even in your story and in your life. And that is why your growth makes some people uncomfortable. Not because you're wrong, because your movement exposes their stillness. But you cannot shrink to make them comfortable. You cannot stay in an outdated version of yourself so other people do not have to update their expectations. At some point, you have to become okay with being misunderstood by the people who are committed to the old version of you in your old life. You have to let them have that old file, and you are not the document anymore. You have been revised, you've been edited, expanded, corrected, and developed, and you have been through too much to stay loyal to a version of yourself that no longer tells the whole truth. And you have to be okay with that. So, Choo On That, family. I want to bring you into this. If you are watching live, drop this in the comment. What is one belief the old version of you still tries to make you obey right now? And be very specific, not just fear. Don't write down just fear. I want you to write down exactly what it is. Is it, I'm not ready? Is it, I'm going to fail? Is it, people will leave? Is it, I cannot trust nobody? I'm too late. I don't belong in this room. I have to do everything myself. I can't change that much. I have to be perfect. Now I want you to name the sentence because you cannot challenge a belief you refuse to define. And here's the second question I want you to ask after that. What would your life look like if the new version of you was fully in charge of you now? How would you move? How would you speak? What would you stop tolerating? What would you finally start to do? And what would you actually finish that you already started? Who would you stop asking permission from? And that's big. And what room would you walk into differently? What apology would you stop giving for being who you are becoming? This is not just motivation, baby. It's identity work. Because your future is not waiting on your talent. Your future is waiting on your agreement. You have to agree with the version of you that is changing so that you can carry it out. Does that make sense? So let me give you a final framework, if you will, right? Let me give you some more a practical tool before we close out, right? I want you to do what I call the 2-column identity audit. Take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write what the old version of me believes. And on the right side, I want you to write what evidence of my life now says this is true. I'm going to give you some examples. The old version of you says, I always mess things up. But the evidence of your life says, I have grown, learned, matured, made better decisions than I used to because of this mess up. The old version of you says, nobody supported me. But the evidence says some people did not support me because I have always attracted people who believed in the failure in me. Wow. The old version of you says, I'm not qualified, but let's get some evidence here. I have experience, wisdom, and skill, and enough evidence to begin whatever I want to begin. These are the examples that I want you to write, because growth is not just becoming new. Growth is believing the evidence that you are no longer who you used to be. Some of you have changed, but you do not trust the change yet. You still treat yourself like the person who made the old mistake. You still treat yourself like the person who stayed too long, like the person who failed before, like the person who did not know any better. But now you do know better. You have the evidence. You have the wisdom. You have the scars, but you also have the strategy. You have the history, but you also have the growth. You have the past, but you also have the authority to choose a different future. So do a self-audit. And when the old version starts talking, don't argue with it emotionally. Just bring the evidence. And this is how you update your identity. Let me close with this. The version of you that got you here deserves absolute honor, but it does not deserve the control over your life. You honor it, you thank it, you respect it, but you do not obey it blindly, because that version may know how to survive rejection, but it may not know how to receive love. That version may know how to push through the pain, but it may not know how to rest in relaxation and peace and create a healthy environment. That version may have guarded your heart, but it may not know how to build trust and receive trust from other people. That version of you may know how to hustle, but it may not know how to receive the fruits of your labor because of the hustle. The version of you may know how to fight, but doesn't know how to flourish when there's nothing to fight. And you are not just here to survive. You are here to become, to grow, mature, to build. You are here to walk into rooms that require a different level of identity. And you are here to stop letting yesterday's pain manage tomorrow's opportunities. So the next time that old voice speaks, ask it, are you protecting me or preventing me? Are you giving me wisdom? Or are you giving me fear dressed like it's wisdom? Are you helping me with discernment, or are you helping me hide myself? Because everything familiar is not safe, and everything uncomfortable is not dangerous. Sometimes the new version of you feels uncomfortable because it is bigger than the identity you got used to wearing. So what I say to you is grow anyway. Speak anyway. Build anyway. Love wisely anyway. Take a break, rest, relax anyway. Charge the proper fee anyway. Launch that vision anyway. Lead those people well anyway, and become who you're supposed to be anyway. And do not let the old version of you destroy what the new version of you is called to build. And listen, it's your boy Randy Choo, aka Mr. Choo On That. And this is True Radio, the Choo On That show, where we have real talk about real issues and we have real thoughts. And as always, you can love it, you can like it, but you definitely have to chew on these topics. Until next time, deuces.
Choo on that. We dug in deep, now let it breathe. Take what you need, leave what you do not. Real talk, real issues, no sleep. Truth in the tone, it hit or it did not. If it made you pause, that is a good sign. If it made you think, let it change your mind. Do not just scroll, do not just react. Sit with the weight, then move with the facts. Choo on that. We said what we said, now build on that. You need to digest this, do not rush back. Take it to your life, let it work like that. Real talk, real issues, that is the track. If you felt that truth, you know where we at. Till next time, yeah, Choo on that. Follow the movement, subscribe, tap in, we back soon. Choo on that, yeah.